I walked into my own bedroom and found my boyfriend of 4 years tangled up with my daughter's best friend. The girl I'd raised alongside my own kid, the one who called me Mama Sarah until she turned 16. But here's the thing that really gutted me. It wasn't the naked bodies or the betrayal itself. It was Michaela's smile when she saw me standing there. Not embarrassed, not apologetic. Triumphant. Like she'd just won a game I didn't even know we were playing. Before we jump back in, tell us where you're tuning in from, and if this story touches you, make sure you're a subscriber, because tomorrow, I've saved something extra special for you. The bedroom door had been slightly open. Not wide open, but that specific angle that said someone either forgot to close it all the way or didn't care enough to make sure it latched. I'd been carrying a basket of clean laundry, humming some stupid song from the radio, thinking about what to make for dinner. Cole had texted me earlier saying he'd be home late from the gym. Michaela was supposed to be apartment hunting with my daughter Beth across town. Supposed to be. The universe has this twisted sense of humor about these moments, doesn't it? You never walk in during some quick, forgettable moment. No, you get the full cinematic experience. Cole's hands in her hair. Her legs wrapped around him. The afternoon sunlight streaming through my bedroom window, lighting them up like some perverted Renaissance painting. And that smile. God, that smile. Michaela saw me first. Her eyes locked onto mine over Cole's shoulder, and instead of shock or shame, her lips curved up into this slow, satisfied smirk. Like a cat that finally caught the canary it had been stalking for months. She didn't push him away or try to cover herself. She just kept that smile plastered on her face while maintaining eye contact with me. That's when Cole noticed. He turned, and at least he had the decency to look horrified. His face went sheet white, then red, then some splotchy combination of both. He scrambled off the bed so fast he nearly fell, grabbing for his jeans like getting dressed would somehow rewind the last 30 seconds of my life. Sarah, Jesus Christ, I can explain, he started, but I was already backing out of the doorway. The laundry basket hit the floor. Clean towels spilled across the hallway carpet, whites mixing with darks in a way that would have bothered me any other day. My hands were shaking. No, my whole body was shaking, this full-body tremor that started in my chest and radiated outward until I could barely feel my fingers. I made it to the kitchen before my legs gave out. Ended up sitting on the floor with my back against the cabinets, staring at the refrigerator like it held the answers to every question suddenly screaming through my head. How long? How many times? Where else? When else? Did Beth know? Did anyone know? The thing about shock is that your brain tries to protect you by making everything feel surreal. Like you're watching it happen to someone else. I sat there cataloging stupid details. There was a coffee stain on the tile near my foot. The kitchen clock was making this ticking sound I'd never noticed before. Outside, someone's dog was barking in that repetitive, annoying way that usually drove me crazy, but right then it was just background noise to the sound of my life imploding. Footsteps on the stairs. Quick, urgent. Cole appeared in the kitchen doorway, shirt on but unbuttoned, jeans barely zipped. His hair was a mess, her fingers had done that. The thought made my stomach twist. Sarah, please, let me explain. This isn't what you think. I laughed. Actually laughed, this bitter, sharp sound that surprised us both. Really, Cole? Because I think I walked in on you sleeping with the girl I've known since she was 7 years old. The girl who used to make friendship bracelets with my daughter in our living room. The girl who cried on my shoulder when her parents got divorced. So please, tell me what I'm misunderstanding about that situation. He opened his mouth, closed it, opened it again like a fish gasping for air. It just happened. It didn't mean anything. Oh, well, if it didn't mean anything. I pushed myself up off the floor, legs still unsteady but holding. How long? Sarah. How long? 3 months. He said it quietly, like saying it softly would somehow make it less devastating. 3 months. 90 days of lies. 90 days of him kissing me goodbye in the morning and coming home to dinner like everything was normal. 90 days of Michaela sitting at my kitchen table, eating my food, laughing at my jokes, calling me to ask for advice about job interviews and apartment deposits and whether she should cut her hair short. 3 months of her knowing she was screwing my boyfriend while looking me in the eye and pretending to care about my opinion on her life choices. Get out. My voice came out steadier than I expected. Sarah, we need to talk about this. Get out. He took a step toward me, hands raised like he was approaching a wild animal. I love you. This was a mistake. Please, just let me explain. If you take one more step toward me, I'm calling the police. I pulled my phone from my pocket, thumb hovering over the emergency call button. I'm not kidding, Cole. Get out of my house right now, or I'm having you removed. Something in my face must have convinced him I meant it. He backed toward the door, still trying to make eye contact, still trying to find some angle that would let him spin this into something forgivable. I'll come back later when you've calmed down. We can talk about this like adults. The locks will be changed by tonight. Don't bother. The front door closed behind him. The sound of his car starting. Gravel crunching under tires as he pulled out of the driveway. Then silence. I stood in my kitchen, phone still in my hand, trying to remember how to breathe like a normal person. Trying to figure out what the hell I was supposed to do next. That's when I heard the bedroom door upstairs close softly. Michaela was still in my house. Let me back up 6 hours, because the universe really wanted to twist the knife on this one. That morning had started so normally it was almost offensive. I'd woken up at 6:30 to Cole's alarm, listened to him stumble through his usual morning routine, shower, coffee, kiss on my forehead that I now realized was probably guilt-flavored. He'd mumbled something about working late, hitting the gym after, don't wait up. I'd made some joke about him and his mid-30s crisis obsession with fitness. He'd laughed. Kissed me again. Left. All so devastatingly normal. Beth had called around 9, her voice doing that excited chipmunk thing it does when she's got plans. Mom, Michaela, and I are going apartment hunting today. Finally found some places in our budget that don't look like crime scenes. That's great, honey. You need any help? I could come look at them with you guys. Nah, we got it. Besides, you hate driving downtown on Saturdays. She wasn't wrong. I did hate it. Had I just been expertly maneuvered? My 25-year-old daughter playing traffic controller so her best friend could screw my boyfriend in peace? No. Beth didn't know. I had to believe that. Because if she knew, if she was in on it, then I'd lost more than just Cole today. Michaela had texted me around 10. Morning Mama S. Thanks for letting me crash here last night. You're the best. Mama S. She'd started calling me that when she was 15, after her parents' divorce got ugly and she'd spent more nights in our guest room than her own house. I'd driven her to her SATs. Helped her move into her college dorm. Co-signed her first apartment lease when her credit wasn't good enough. I'd been more of a mother to her than her own mom, who'd moved to Arizona with her new husband and barely called anymore. And she'd thanked me for letting her crash here. In my house. Where she'd apparently been planning to betray me the entire time. I'd texted back a thumbs up emoji. Professional level oblivious, that was me. The rest of the morning had been aggressively ordinary. I'd done laundry, meal prepped some chicken for the week, scrolled through social media while eating leftover pasta for lunch. There'd been a photo Beth posted, her and Michaela making ridiculous faces in the car, captioned, apartment hunting with my ride or die. Posted 2 hours ago. Except Michaela's car had been in my driveway all morning. I'd seen it when I took the trash out. That detail had nagged at me, this little splinter in my brain I couldn't quite identify. But I'd pushed it aside because surely there was an explanation. Maybe they'd taken Beth's car. Maybe Michaela had left hers here and they'd carpooled. Maybe I was being paranoid for no reason. God, I'd gotten so good at talking myself out of my own instincts. Around 2 o'clock, I decided to do something nice. Preparing and narrating this story took us a lot of time, so if you are enjoying it, subscribe to our channel, it means a lot to us. Now back to the story. Cole had been so stressed with work lately, and I thought maybe I'd surprise him. Make his favorite dinner, that lemon chicken thing he always requested for his birthday. Maybe set up the patio with candles, open that expensive wine we'd been saving. Reconnect a little. The chicken was already defrosting. I just needed to grab the recipe from my laptop, which I'd left upstairs in the bedroom that morning. That's what brought me up those stairs with the laundry basket. That's what put me in position to see that slightly open door. That's how the universe decided to blow up my life, with lemon chicken and good intentions. I'd been humming. Actually humming some Taylor Swift song, completely clueless, about to walk into a moment that would split my life into before and after. The really sick part? I'd been thinking about how lucky I was. Standing there at the bottom of the stairs, basket of warm laundry in my arms, sunshine coming through the windows, planning a romantic evening. Thinking about how solid things were with Cole, how grateful I was that Michaela and Beth had stayed so close even after college, how nice it was to have this full, loving life at 36. 36. Not old, but not young enough to bounce back from this kind of devastation without scars. I'd climbed those stairs completely unprepared for what was waiting at the top. Because that's how these things work, right? Life doesn't send you a warning text. It doesn't give you time to brace yourself. It just opens a door and shows you exactly how stupid you've been for trusting people who didn't deserve it. And now here I was, standing in my kitchen, listening to Michaela move around upstairs in my bedroom like she had any right to still be here. The girl who'd grown up in this house. Who'd eaten at this table thousands of times. Who'd helped me plant the garden in the backyard 3 summers ago, getting dirt under her fingernails while complaining about how her mother never wanted to do stuff like this with her. She was still here. In my space. After everything. Well. That was about to change. I took the stairs slowly, each step deliberate. My hands had stopped shaking, replaced by this cold, crystalline clarity that felt almost pleasant. Shock was wearing off. Anger was filling the space it left behind. Michaela was sitting on my bed, still on my bed, fully dressed now in those ripped jeans and oversized sweater combo that Beth had probably helped her pick out last week. Her hair was messy in that calculated way girls her age spent an hour achieving. She was scrolling through her phone like nothing had happened. Like she was just hanging out in her friend's mom's bedroom on a regular Saturday afternoon. She looked up when I appeared in the doorway. That smile again. Smaller this time, but still there. Still smug. Sarah. She said my name like we were about to have a casual chat about the weather. I guess we should talk. You're in my house. My voice came out flat, emotionless. After what I just walked in on, you're still in my house. She shrugged. Actually shrugged. I didn't want to leave without explaining. Explaining what, exactly? How you've been screwing my boyfriend for 3 months while pretending to be part of this family. While sitting at my dinner table and asking me for life advice? While calling me Mama S? Something flickered across her face. Not quite guilt, but close. It's complicated. It's really not. She stood up, smoothing her sweater down. The movement was so casual, so unconcerned, that my fingers itched to grab something and throw it. You don't understand. Cole and I have a connection. It's not like he was looking for it, it just happened. Nothing just happens, Michaela. You made choices. Multiple choices. Every single day for 3 months. He was unhappy. She said it like that justified everything. Like being unhappy gave Cole permission to destroy our relationship. He told me you two barely even talk anymore. That you're more like roommates than partners. The lie was so bold, so complete, that for a second I couldn't even process it. We barely talked. We'd had coffee together this morning. We'd made plans for next weekend. We'd had sex 3 days ago, for God's sake. But that's what cheaters do, isn't it? They rewrite history to make themselves the hero of their own story. And you believe that? I took a step into the room. You've been around us for years, Michaela. You've seen us together. You really think we're just roommates? She had the audacity to look defensive. People fake happiness all the time. You of all people should know that. What's that supposed to mean? Come on, Sarah. She crossed her arms. You've been playing house with Cole, but it's not real. He's only a few years older than me. You're almost 40. He needs someone who understands him, who's on his level. He's 35. I'm 36. Math isn't your strong suit, but that's 1 year, not almost 40. The correction came out sharp. And you're 25. If we're doing the math, the age gap between you and him is bigger than between him and me. That's different. How? She opened her mouth, closed it. Her phone buzzed in her hand. She glanced at it, and something shifted in her expression. Uncertainty creeping in at the edges. Is that him? I asked. Is Cole texting you right now? He's just checking if I'm okay. How considerate. I laughed, that same bitter sound from earlier. Did he check if I was okay? Or was that not part of his concern? Michaela's jaw tightened. There it was, the mask slipping just a little. You're being dramatic. This doesn't have to be some huge thing. People have affairs all the time. Adults deal with it and move on. Adults. I repeated the word slowly. You think you're an adult? An adult wouldn't sleep with her best friend's mother's boyfriend. An adult wouldn't betray someone who treated her like family. An adult would have at least had the decency to look ashamed when she got caught. I'm not ashamed. She lifted her chin, defiant. I'm in love with him. The words should have hurt more than they did. Instead, they just felt absurd. Like a child declaring she was going to marry her celebrity crush. You're not in love with him, Michaela. You're 25 and confusing attention from an older man with love. Trust me, I've seen this pattern before. You don't know anything about us. I know Cole. I moved closer, watching her take an involuntary step back. I know that 3 months ago, he started going to the gym more. Started being vague about his schedule. Started picking fights over nothing so he could leave the house angry and come back later smelling like unfamiliar soap. Her face betrayed her before her mouth could. The soap detail landed. You used my shower, didn't you? I looked toward the bathroom. After. You used my bathroom to clean up after sleeping with my boyfriend in my bed. Sarah. How many times? The question came out quieter than I intended. How many times in my house? She didn't answer. Her phone buzzed again. And again. Cole was panicking, probably trying to coordinate their stories, figure out damage control. I pulled out my own phone. I should have done this when I first walked in. Documented it. Took photos. But I was too shocked to think straight. I opened my camera app. But I can document this conversation. You, standing in my bedroom, admitting to the affair. You're recording me? I'm protecting myself. Because I know how this works. You'll leave here and start spinning your version to anyone who'll listen. But I'll have proof of what you actually said. Her defiance cracked. Please don't. Why not? You weren't worried about consequences when you were in my bed. Why worry now? Because Beth, she stopped herself. Because Beth will find out, I finished. That's what you're really afraid of. Not losing Cole. Losing your best friend who's been loyal to you since you were 7 years old. We were both 7, she said defensively. We grew up together. We were kids together. And now you're adults. Except you're acting like a child who wants what someone else has. I kept my phone out, camera pointed at her. So here's what's going to happen. You're going to unlock your phone and let me photograph every conversation between you and Cole. Every text, every photo, every lie. Or I call Beth right now and tell her everything. You can't make me. Watch me. I pulled up Beth's contact. She's already called 3 times. One more call from me and she'll know something seriously wrong. She'll come straight here. Is that how you want her to find out? Michaela's hands shook as she unlocked her phone and held it out. Just, please don't show Beth unless you have to. That depends entirely on what happens next. I started photographing her screen, scrolling through months of messages. Keep scrolling. I want everything. The messages went back further than 3 months. Way further. 5 months of flirtation, lies, and calculated betrayal. I photographed it all, my own phone filling with evidence that would make it impossible for either of them to rewrite this story. My hands moved mechanically, photographing screen after screen. The messages between Cole and Michaela painted a picture so damning that even their lawyers wouldn't be able to spin it. 5 months ago, the messages started innocent enough. Michaela, saw Cole at the grocery store today. He's aging like fine wine. Cole, careful, that's your best friend's mom's boyfriend you're talking about. Michaela, just stating facts. Sarah's lucky. Cole, I'm the lucky one. That should have been the end of it. But 4 days later. Michaela, can't stop thinking about running into you. Is that weird? Cole, a little bit, yeah. Michaela, sorry. Forget I said anything. 2 hours later, he'd texted back, not weird. Flattering. There it was. The door he'd chosen to walk through instead of closing it. Keep scrolling, I told Michaela, photographing as fast as I could. The flirting escalated. Late-night conversations where Michaela asked questions about his relationship with me, and Cole painted increasingly ugly pictures of our life together. You told her we haven't had sex in 6 months. I looked up at Michaela. We had sex on Tuesday. She wouldn't meet my eyes. You told her I don't appreciate you. That I'm always criticizing you. That you feel trapped. I kept photographing, rage building with each lie I captured. You told her I don't cook anymore, that the house is always a mess, that I let myself go after Beth moved out. He was venting, Michaela said weakly. Everyone vents about their relationships. These aren't vents, they're character assassinations. I turned the phone toward her. Did you ever question it? Did you ever think maybe he was lying to manipulate you? Her silence was answer enough. There was a text from 3 months ago that made my breath catch. Cole, Sarah's going to that conference in Chicago next weekend. 3 days. Michaela, must be nice having the place to yourself. Cole, it's too big for just me. Lonely. Michaela, want some company? That conference. I'd been so excited, presenting my work to a national audience. Cole had driven me to the airport, kissed me goodbye, told me he was proud of me. I called you from Chicago. The memory surfaced sharp and clear. That Saturday night after my presentation. You answered and said you were having dinner with Beth. You put her on the phone and everything. Michaela's face flushed red. Beth wasn't there, was she? You were here. You handed the phone to my daughter and lied straight to my face while probably still in my bed. She didn't know, Michaela said quickly. Beth has no idea. I would never. Never what? Never involve her? You involved her the second you started sleeping with her mother's boyfriend. I found today's messages, started around 1 o'clock. Cole, Sarah just texted she's making dinner tonight. That lemon chicken thing. Michaela, the one she made for your birthday? Cole, yeah. She's trying to be romantic or something. Michaela, so you'll be home late? Cole, I told her I'm working late and hitting the gym. Gives us 3 hours. You still at the house? Michaela, yep. Beth thinks we're apartment hunting. Cole, perfect. See you soon, baby. Michaela, can't wait. I'm already in your bed. So she'd been waiting for him. In my bed. While I was downstairs planning a romantic evening. I photographed everything, then started going through the photo gallery. Pictures of them together, parking lots, his car, restaurants I'd never been to. But one photo made my stomach turn. My kitchen. Michaela sitting on the counter with Cole between her legs, his hands on her waist. My coffee maker visible in the background. The calendar with Beth's birthday circled in red. This was 2 weeks ago, I said, showing her the timestamp. I was at Margaret's helping her move. You texted asking if you could stop by for textbooks. Sarah. I texted back, of course, doors unlocked. I gave you permission to enter my house so you could screw my boyfriend in my kitchen. I saved the last photo and handed her phone back. Get out. Can we please just get out before I change my mind about waiting to tell Beth? She grabbed her bag and practically ran for the stairs. I heard the front door slam. Standing alone in my bedroom, I transferred all the photos from my phone to my laptop, then backed them up on a USB drive and emailed copies to 3 different email addresses. This evidence wasn't going to disappear if a phone got damaged or a computer crashed. My phone buzzed. Cole, from his own number. Sarah, I know you're upset, but we need to talk like adults. What you saw wasn't the whole story. I've been trying to end things with Michaela for weeks, but she's been persistent. She's got some issues, you know how she can be. I didn't want to hurt her, but I also didn't know how to handle it. I made mistakes, but I love you. Only you. Please call me. The audacity was breathtaking. He was already trying to flip the script, make Michaela the villain, paint himself as the victim of her pursuit. Never mind his texts to her from 2 hours ago calling her baby and planning their future. I screenshot his message. Added it to my evidence folder. There was a knock on my front door. I tensed, if that was Cole coming back. But it was lighter, more hesitant. I looked through the peephole. Meredith Collins from 3 houses down stood on my porch holding a casserole dish and looking concerned. I opened the door. Meredith? Sarah, honey, I saw Cole leaving earlier looking upset. Then that young girl practically ran out crying. Is everything okay? She held up the casserole. I made too much CD. But if this is a bad time. Actually, I heard myself say, do you have a minute to come in? I could use someone to talk to. She stepped inside, setting the casserole on my entry table. Let me guess, you finally caught them. I stared at her. You knew? Honey, I'm a retired teacher who spends most of my day on my front porch. I notice things. She touched my arm gently. Let me make us some tea. Where do you keep your mugs? I sat on the edge of my bed, the bed where I just caught them, and started taking screenshots. Every incriminating text. Every photo. Every lie Cole had told about me to justify his affair. My hands moved mechanically, thumbs scrolling and tapping, building a digital case file of betrayal. The phone kept buzzing with incoming texts from Cole. I ignored them and kept screenshotting. There were voice messages too. I played one on speaker while I worked. Baby, please call me. Sarah's being completely irrational. She won't listen to reason. I need you to lay low for a few days until I can smooth this over. Don't talk to Beth yet. We need to control the narrative. Control the narrative. Like this was some PR crisis instead of him destroying multiple lives for his ego. Another message, from an hour ago, I'm staying at Dylan's place tonight. I told him we had a fight but not why. When Sarah calms down, we can figure out how to do this right. Maybe it's better this way. We don't have to sneak around anymore. Do this right. As if there was a right way to blow up your relationship for your girlfriend's best friend. I forwarded every screenshot to my own phone, then went through Cole's messages in Michaela's phone. There was a thread between them about me specifically. A whole conversation dedicated to discussing my flaws. Cole, she's gained weight since we started dating. Doesn't even try anymore. I looked down at myself. Same size I'd been for years. I'd actually lost weight recently from stress I now recognized as my subconscious screaming that something was wrong. Michaela, bet she doesn't dress up for you like she used to. Cole, everything's yoga pants and ponytails now. Remember when women made an effort? I'd worn a dress to dinner last week. He'd barely looked up from his phone. Michaela, you deserve someone who appreciates you. Someone who makes you feel alive. Cole, you make me feel 25 again. Michaela, because I'm 25. Cole, exactly. No baggage. No expectations. Just fun. No baggage. I guess 4 years of relationship and helping raise my daughter counted as baggage. Expectations like basic fidelity were apparently too much to ask. The texts got worse. They discussed my work, mocking the marketing campaigns I'd been proud of. Made fun of the way I organized the pantry. Laughed about how I always double-checked that the doors were locked before bed, calling it paranoid when it was just responsible. But the cruelest ones were about Beth. Michaela, had coffee with B today. She was talking about how great you and Sarah are together. How she's never seen her mom this happy. Cole, guilt trip much? Michaela, not guilty. Just funny how wrong she is. Cole, what Sarah doesn't know won't hurt her. Or Beth. Michaela, sometimes I feel bad about lying to B. She's been my best friend forever. Cole, you want to stop? Michaela, no. I want you. Cole, then stop feeling bad. Beth will understand eventually. We're not doing anything wrong. We're following our hearts. Following their hearts. Such poetic language for trashing everyone who'd ever trusted them. I found the conversation from today, started around 1 o'clock. Cole, Sarah just texted she's making dinner tonight. That lemon chicken thing. Michaela, the one she made for your birthday? Cole, yeah. She's trying to be romantic or something. Michaela, so you'll be home late? Cole, I told her I'm working late and hitting the gym. Gives us 3 hours. You still at the house? Michaela, yep. Beth thinks we're apartment hunting. Cole, perfect. See you soon, baby. Michaela, can't wait. I'm already in your bed. So she'd been waiting for him. In my bed. While I was downstairs planning a romantic evening like the world's biggest idiot. My phone buzzed. Beth calling again. I let it go to voicemail again. I wasn't ready to talk to her yet, wasn't ready to shatter her world the way mine had been shattered. But I did listen to her message. Mom, hey. We found the perfect apartment. 2-bedroom, walking distance to that coffee shop Michaela loves. I know you said you'd co-sign if we needed it, so can you call me back? Oh, and we're grabbing dinner. Want us to bring you anything? Love you. Her voice was so happy, so untainted by what was coming. I'd have to tell her eventually. Watch her face crumble when she realized her best friend since elementary school had been betraying both of us. Watch her question every memory, every moment of their friendship, wondering what was real and what was manipulation. Cole had texted me too. Different tone than what he was sending Michaela. Sarah, I know you're upset, but we need to talk like adults. What you saw wasn't the whole story. I've been trying to end things with Michaela for weeks, but she's been persistent. She's got some issues, you know how she can be. I didn't want to hurt her, but I also didn't know how to handle it. I made mistakes, but I love you. Only you. Please call me. The audacity was almost impressive. He was already trying to flip the script, make Michaela the aggressor, paint himself as the victim of her pursuit. Never mind his texts to her from 2 hours ago calling her baby, and making plans for their future. I screenshot his lies too. Added them to my collection. There was a knock on my front door. My whole body tensed. If that was Cole coming back, if he thought he could just walk in here and talk his way out of this. But it wasn't Cole's knock. This was lighter, more hesitant. I went downstairs and looked through the peephole. Meredith Collins stood on my porch, my neighbor from 3 houses down. She was holding a casserole dish and looking concerned. I opened the door. Meredith? Sarah, honey, I saw Cole leaving earlier looking upset. Then that young girl practically ran out of here crying. Is everything okay? She held up the casserole. I made too much ziti and thought you might want some, but if this is a bad time. Actually, I heard myself say, do you have a minute to come in? She stepped inside, setting the casserole on my entry table. Meredith was one of those neighbors who noticed everything. Retired teacher, widowed 5 years ago, spent most of her time gardening and people watching from her front porch. I'd never been particularly close with her, just the occasional wave and small talk about weather. But she'd seen Michaela leave. And she was looking at me with this knowing expression that said she'd probably noticed more than just today's drama. Meredith, I said carefully, how often have you seen Michaela here when I'm not home? Her expression shifted. Not surprise, but confirmation. Like she'd been waiting for me to ask. Oh, Sarah. She touched my arm gently. Let me make us some tea. I think we need to have a conversation. Meredith made tea like she owned my kitchen, pulling mugs from cabinets she somehow knew about, finding the honey without asking. I sat at my kitchen table feeling like a guest in my own house while she bustled around with the confidence of someone who'd made this decision already and was just waiting for me to catch up. I almost came over 3 weeks ago, she said, setting a steaming mug in front of me. Earl Grey with honey, exactly how I liked it. Had I told her that once, or was she just good at reading people? I talked myself out of it because, well, who am I to get involved in someone else's business? What did you see 3 weeks ago? She settled into the chair across from me, wrapping her hands around her own mug. Michaela's car in your driveway at 10 in the morning on a Tuesday. Your car was gone. Then Cole's truck pulled up 20 minutes later. He didn't leave until almost 2. The Tuesday I'd driven to the outlet mall an hour away because they were having a sale. I'd texted Cole asking if he needed anything. He'd said no, he was working from home, focused on a project. I'd even felt guilty for bothering him. There were other times too, Meredith continued. I didn't think much of it at first. Michaela's been around your house for years, she's like family. But then I noticed a pattern. She only came over on days when your car was gone. And Cole's truck was always here. Why didn't you say something? Would you have believed me? She asked it gently, but the question hit hard. If I'd come to you a month ago and said I thought your boyfriend and your daughter's best friend were having an affair, what would you have done? I would have defended them. Made excuses. Probably avoided Meredith for weeks because she was clearly a bitter old woman stirring up trouble. You would have thought I was crazy, she said, reading my silence correctly. Or meddling. Or both. These things only work when people are ready to see the truth. I still wouldn't have been ready if I hadn't walked in on them. But you did walk in on them. So now we're here, drinking tea and talking about what happens next. She took a sip, studying me over the rim of her mug. You've got that look. What look? The one that says you're not just going to cry and forgive him. You're planning something. I pulled out Michaela's phone, still in my possession, and slid it across the table. 5 months of texts. Photos. Voice messages. All the evidence I need to prove this wasn't some drunken mistake. They planned this. Coordinated their schedules around mine. Used my house, my bed, my trust. Meredith picked up the phone, scrolling through a few messages. Her expression hardened with each screen. This girl. You raised her. Practically. And this is how she repays you. She set the phone down with more force than necessary. What are you going to do with all this? I don't know yet. But I'm not going to let them rewrite history. Cole's already trying to make Michaela the villain, like she seduced him against his will. I have proof that's garbage. You need to show Beth. The words made my stomach clench. I know. Not today, Meredith added quickly. You need time to process this yourself first. But eventually, she needs to know who her best friend really is. Before Michaela can spin some story about how you're the crazy jealous girlfriend making things up. She was right. Beth would believe me, I was her mother, but the sooner I told her, the less time Michaela had to craft some alternative narrative. Still, the thought of having that conversation made me want to throw up. There's something else you should know, Meredith said. About Michaela. I looked up at her. I taught high school for 30 years before I retired. You see patterns. This girl? She gestured at the phone. She's got a type. Older men. Authority figures. Teachers, coaches, married men especially. How do you know that? Because I've been watching her since she was 17. Junior year, she tried to get very friendly with Mr. Barrett, the history teacher. He was married, mid-40s. Nothing happened, he was smart enough to shut it down, but I saw her trying. Senior year it was Coach Dylan. He wasn't married but he was 38. Again, nothing happened that I know of, but the pattern was there. My mind flashed to every time Michaela had dated someone her own age. The relationships never lasted more than a month or two. She'd always had some complaint, they were immature, they didn't understand her, they were boring. She goes for men who are established, Meredith continued. Men who have something she doesn't. Stability, money, status. And she's especially drawn to men who are already taken because that's a challenge. Proof that she's special enough to make them risk everything. Cole's not rich or particularly established. No, but he's got you. A house, a family structure, a girlfriend who's got her life together. Michaela's been bouncing between retail jobs and living with roommates who annoy her. You represent everything she wants. So she decided to take it. The analysis was clinical but accurate. I thought about all the times Michaela had made comments about our house, our relationship, our life. Always framed as compliments, "You're so lucky, Sarah," and "I hope I have what you have someday," but now they felt more like surveillance. Studying what she wanted to steal. The smile, I said suddenly. When she saw me walk in today, she smiled. Not embarrassed, not guilty. Triumphant. Because she won, Meredith said. Simply. In her mind, she beat you. Took your man right out of your bed. That smile was her trophy moment. The rage that had been simmering since I'd kicked Michaela out flared hot again. She'd smiled because she thought she'd conquered me. Thought she'd proven she was better, younger, more desirable. She'd forgotten one crucial thing: I wasn't some conquest to be claimed. I was a woman who'd built a life from nothing, raised a daughter alone for years before Cole came along, survived my own share of betrayals and disappointments. I'd been underestimated before. It never ended well for the people who did the underestimating. Meredith, I said slowly, how would you feel about helping me with something? Her eyes lit up with interest. What kind of something? The kind that makes sure everyone knows exactly what happened here. Not Cole's version, not Michaela's version. The truth. She leaned forward. I'm listening. Over the next hour, Meredith and I plotted. She had connections I didn't: neighborhood watch group chats, book club gossip networks, church committees. The kind of organic information channels that spread news faster than social media and with more credibility. But I wanted more than gossip. I wanted documentation. Evidence that couldn't be disputed or dismissed. I need to go through the house, I told her. Check for other things I might have missed. Financial records, credit card statements. If they were this bold about the affair, there might be money issues too. Smart. Men who cheat usually lie about more than just where they've been. We started in Cole's home office, a small room off the living room where he kept his desk and filing cabinet. I felt invasive going through his things, which was absurd considering what he'd been doing in my bed. But old habits of respecting privacy died hard. The filing cabinet revealed interesting patterns. Credit card statements I'd never seen before. A card in his name only, not our joint account. The charges made my blood pressure spike. Hotel rooms. Jewelry purchases. Restaurants I'd never been to. A charge from Victoria's Secret dated 2 months ago for $200. He'd told me he was cutting back on spending to save for a vacation we were supposedly planning. Total this up, Meredith said, pulling out her phone calculator. We went through 6 months of statements. By the end, the number made my hands shake again. $7,000. He'd spent $7,000 on his affair while I'd been paying more than my share of household expenses because he'd claimed money was tight. My laptop sat open on the coffee table, our joint bank account displayed. I'd been staring at the balance for 10 minutes, Meredith beside me helping trace every transaction. There, she pointed. That withdrawal for $1,500. What was that for? I clicked through to the details. Cash withdrawal, dated 6 weeks ago. The day before Michaela had posted beach trip photos. He funded her vacation. Probably told me it was for car repairs. I searched my text history with Cole. There it was, hey babe, transmission's acting up. Mechanic says it's gonna be $1,500. Can I pull from savings? I'd authorized it without question because that's what you do when you trust someone. What else? Meredith asked, her voice hard. We found monthly payments to a storage unit I didn't know existed. The statements showed Cole had been too careless to change his mailing address. Everything still came to my house. His secret credit card statements included. Men who cheat are usually lazy about covering their tracks, Meredith observed. They're so confident they won't get caught that they get sloppy. She was right. Cole wasn't some criminal mastermind. He was an arrogant narcissist who thought I was too trusting to notice, too weak to leave. He'd miscalculated. I logged into our joint account and transferred half the balance to my personal checking. $23,000. Then I changed my direct deposit information. Future paychecks would go to my account only. Credit cards, Meredith prompted. I removed Cole as an authorized user on our shared card, then called the bank to report his personal card for suspicious activity. They'd freeze it within the hour. Now the house security, Meredith said. I pulled up the security app and changed every access code. Deleted Cole's fingerprint from the smart lock. The house was mine, purchased before I'd even met him with divorce settlement money from Beth's father. His name had never been on the deed. You're sure you want me to have the new codes? Meredith asked when I offered to add her. You're the only person I trust right now. My phone rang. Beth, fourth call I'd ignored. I listened to her voicemail. Mom, you're worrying me. You always call back. Did something happen? Please call me. Love you. The guilt was crushing, but I needed everything secured before I shattered my daughter's world. You need a lawyer, Meredith said. Before Cole figures out his money's locked and comes back with his own attorney. On a Saturday evening? My nephew Hugh is a paralegal at Morrison & Associates. They handle messy situations. She pulled out her phone. Let me text him. While she did that, I organized all my evidence chronologically. 5 months of documentation, time-stamped and detailed. Meredith's phone dinged. Hugh says Jennifer Owens specializes in cohabitation disputes. She's available for emergency consultations. I called immediately. A woman answered, voice professional but warm. Jennifer Owens. Ms. Owens, my name is Sarah Monet. I need legal advice about protecting my assets from my ex-boyfriend who's been committing fraud. Ex as of today. As of 3 hours ago when I caught him with my daughter's best friend. Pause. I'm at my office finishing paperwork. Can you come now? We should talk before he has time to make his own moves. 40 minutes later, I sat in Jennifer's downtown office laying out everything. The photos of Michaela's phone. My laptop with screenshots. Credit card statements showing $7,000 in affair expenses. Bank records proving systematic theft. Jennifer reviewed it all methodically, making notes. When she finished, she studied me. This is clear-cut fraud and theft. The financial crimes alone justify a civil suit. You have options. I don't want his money. I want him to understand there are consequences. Those aren't mutually exclusive. She tapped her pen. We send a cease and desist Monday morning. Formal notice he's banned from your property and you're pursuing legal action. That creates a paper trail. What about the money he stole? Civil suit for reimbursement plus damages. With this evidence, we're looking at 15 to 20,000 total. He'll settle or face court, and trust me, he doesn't want this in court. And Michaela? Jennifer's expression hardened. The mistress is trickier. She didn't steal directly, but she was complicit and benefited from the fraud. If we can prove she knew, which these texts suggest, we might have a case against her too. I thought about that. Smile. I want her held accountable. Then we'll make sure she is. Jennifer slid a contract across her desk. Standard retainer. $300 an hour, capped at $5,000 total. This should be straightforward. I signed without hesitation. Leaving her office, my phone buzzed. Cole, we need to talk. I'm coming over. I texted back, you're not welcome at my house. All locks and codes changed. Any attempt to enter will result in police being called. All future communication goes through my lawyer. You'll receive her information Monday. His response was immediate. Sarah, you're overreacting. We can work this out like adults. Don't do something you'll regret. I blocked his number. Then I called Beth. Time to tell my daughter the truth. Beth answered on the first ring. Mom. Finally. What's going on? Honey, I need you to come to the house. Tonight. And come alone. Alone? Michaela's right here. Beth. My voice came out sharper than intended. Come alone. Don't tell Michaela you're coming here. Just make an excuse and leave. Silence. Then, quieter, Mom, what happened? I'll explain when you get here. But I need you to trust me and not say anything to Michaela. Can you do that? You're really scaring me. I know, baby. Just come home. She arrived 30 minutes later. I was in the living room, my laptop open with all the evidence organized. Beth took one look at my face and her expression crumbled. What happened? Is someone hurt? Everyone's physically fine. Sit down, sweetheart. She sat, tucking her legs under her like she used to as a kid when scared. Just tell me. This afternoon, I came home and found Cole in bed with Michaela. The words hung in the air. Beth's face cycled through emotions: confusion, disbelief, horror, denial. She shook her head. No. That's not, Michaela wouldn't. She's my best friend. I know, baby. And Cole, she stopped, looking at me. Really looking. You saw them. I walked in on them. In my bedroom. Oh my God. Her hands went to her mouth. There's more. I turned my laptop toward her. They've been doing this for at least 3 months. Maybe longer. I have all the evidence. Text messages, photos, everything. I walked her through it, the screenshots I'd taken of Michaela's phone, the financial theft, the systematic lies. Beth's face went from shock to rage as she read messages where she was mentioned by name, where they laughed about deceiving her. She was with me today, Beth whispered. We were apartment hunting. She was texting him while we were together, wasn't she? Yes. Beth stood abruptly, pacing. I defended her. When her mom abandoned her, when people talked about her, I always had her back. And this is, her voice broke. How could she? I don't know. How long have you known? Since this afternoon. I didn't suspect anything until I walked in. Beth's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen, jaw clenching. It's her. Asking if I told you about the apartments yet. If you agreed to co-sign. She looked up at me. She was going to let you co-sign our apartment while sleeping with your boyfriend. Yes. Beth's fingers moved across her phone. I'm telling her we need to talk. Tonight. Beth, maybe you should wait. No. Her expression hardened with that determination I'd seen since she was a toddler. This is my friendship she destroyed. Mine. And I get to decide how it ends. She was right. This was her pain to handle. Okay. But I'm here if you need me. I want you there. I want her to explain this to both of us. 20 minutes later, Michaela knocked. Beth answered while I stayed in the living room, positioned where I could see but wasn't immediately visible. Michaela walked in with false confidence, like nothing had changed. Hey B, what's so urgent that? She stopped when she saw me. Sit down, Michaela. Beth's voice was ice. Look, I know your mom's upset. I said sit down. Michaela sat slowly, eyes darting between us. Beth remained standing, arms crossed. My mom told me everything. And before you try spinning some story, I've seen the texts. All of them. The ones where you laughed about lying to me. Where you and Cole discussed how gullible we both are. Beth, it's not like that. Don't. Beth held up a hand. Don't insult me more than you already have. You've been sleeping with my mother's boyfriend for months. You used her house, her trust, her kindness. And you smiled about it. I didn't mean for you to get hurt. But you knew I would. Beth's voice cracked. You knew what this would do to me, to her, to all of us. And you did it anyway because what? Cole made you feel special? He was unhappy. Sarah didn't. My mother has been nothing but good to you. Beth took a step forward. When your parents divorced, who let you live here rent-free for 6 months? Who co-signed your apartment lease? Who helped you pay tuition? My mom did all that. And this is how you repay her? Michaela's eyes were wet. I know I messed up. But Cole and I, we have something real. You have an affair, Beth said flatly. Built on lies and stolen money. That's not real, that's pathetic. You're just jealous. Jealous? Beth's laugh was bitter. Of what? A 25-year-old who's throwing away every real relationship she has for a man who's been lying to everyone? You think I want that? Michaela stood. I don't have to listen to this. You're right. Beth pulled something from her pocket, a key ring. This is your key to my apartment. The one we were supposed to share. Give it back. Beth, come on. Give me the key, Michaela. Michaela fumbled with her keyring. The key clinked as it hit Beth's palm. I also want you to know, Beth continued, voice steadier now, that I've told everyone in our friend group. Posted screenshots in our group chat. Everyone knows what you did. Michaela's face went white. You didn't. I did. Because you don't get to control this story. You don't get to play victim. Everyone gets to see exactly who you are. You're ruining my life. No. I stood up, joining my daughter. You ruined your own life when you decided betraying people who loved you was worth it for a man who was using you. Michaela looked between us, realizing she'd lost. Without another word, she grabbed her bag and left, practically running to her car. Beth and I stood in the doorway watching her taillights disappear. I can't believe she tried to make me feel bad for her, Beth said, shoulders shaking. I pulled her into a hug. She collapsed against me like she used to as a child. You handled that perfectly, I told her. I wanted to hit her. That's human. But you didn't. You were strong and you didn't let her manipulate you. I loved her, Mom. She was my best friend for 18 years. How do I just stop? You don't stop overnight. But you start by remembering that the person you loved might not have been real. We spent the rest of the evening on the couch, Beth cycling through grief stages in fast forward while her phone buzzed with messages from friends, most supportive, some skeptical. One message stood out, from a friend named Ashley. Are you sure you're not overreacting? Michaela said you and your mom have been acting strange. She's already spinning her version, Beth said, jaw tight. Let her try. Anyone who matters will believe us. My phone buzzed. Cole, from a different number, probably Dylan's. Beth grabbed my phone before I could. She typed, "This is Beth. Don't contact my mother again. Your lawyer can talk to her lawyer." She hit send and blocked the number. Feel better? I asked. A little bit, yeah. The next few days were a blur. Jennifer worked fast, getting the cease and desist served to Cole Monday morning at his office. According to her investigator, he'd opened it in front of coworkers and gone pale. He called 17 times yesterday, Jennifer told me Wednesday. Left increasingly panicked voicemails. I had my assistant tell him continued harassment would result in an official restraining order. Did that work? For now. But men like him don't give up easily. She was right. Cole tried everything. Flowers to my office, donated to the hospital. A handwritten letter slipped under my door. I gave it to Jennifer unread. He even showed up at Margaret's house. Margaret called immediately. He's on my porch looking pathetic. Want me to call the cops or spray him with the hose? What did he say? That you're being unreasonable. That it was a mistake and he loves you. The usual script. Tell him to leave or you're calling the police. I heard her door open, then her voice. She says lose her number and get off my property. She means it. The financial case moved forward. Jennifer filed the civil suit, itemizing every fraudulent charge. Cole's lawyer tried arguing that gift-giving was normal in relationships. Gift-giving is normal, Jennifer countered in an email. Stealing from joint accounts to fund an affair while lying about car repairs is fraud. We have documentation of every false claim. See you in court. They settled 3 weeks later. Cole agreed to repay $12,000, the original $7,000 plus additional damages and my legal fees. He also signed an agreement never to contact me or Beth again, with financial penalties for violations. He tried to negotiate that part, Jennifer said when I came to sign. Said it was unreasonable after 4 years together. I told him he should have thought of that before committing fraud. Beth's healing was slower. She'd lost not just Michaela but several friends who chose sides or avoided the drama. The apartment hunting stopped, she couldn't afford it alone and didn't trust anyone else. Move back home, I told her one evening. Save money. Figure things out without pressure. I'm 25. I shouldn't be moving back with my mom. You're 25 and dealing with massive betrayal. There's no shame in needing support. She moved back the following weekend. We converted the guest room, the same room where Michaela used to sleep during her parents' divorce. Is it weird I'm sleeping in her old room? Beth asked. It's not her room anymore. It's yours. We're taking back every space they tried to claim. I'd redecorated the master bedroom too. New bedding, new curtains, rearranged furniture. Had the carpets professionally cleaned even though there was nothing visible to remove. Some stains were psychological. Meredith checked in daily, bringing casseroles and wine, helping me research security systems. You need cameras, she insisted. You're a single woman whose ex has proven he can't respect boundaries. We installed them that weekend, front door, back door, driveway. I'd get alerts on my phone if anyone approached. This feels excessive, Beth said, mounting the camera above the garage. It feels necessary. Cole knows where everything is. Better paranoid than surprised. The cameras proved their worth 2 weeks later when they caught Cole creeping around the backyard at 2 a.m. The motion alert woke me. I watched on my phone as he tried the back door, found it locked, then peered through windows. I called the police. They arrived within 10 minutes and found him still there, sitting on my patio furniture. I just wanted to talk to her, he told them, according to the report. She won't answer my calls. Sir, you're on private property. The homeowner has a no-contact agreement. I didn't think it counted for the backyard. The officers were firm, leave now or be arrested for trespassing and violating the agreement. Cole left. He's escalating, Jennifer said when I forwarded the police report. This is good evidence, but I'm worried about your safety. Has he ever been violent? No. At least not that I've seen. Keep the cameras running. Document everything. And Sarah? Consider a formal restraining order now. This behavior warrants it. We filed for one the next day. The judge granted it immediately based on the evidence of systematic harassment. Beth and I settled into a new routine. She worked part-time at a coffee shop while finishing her degree. I focused on my marketing consultancy, which was growing steadily without the distraction of a lying boyfriend. The money from Cole's settlement sat in an investment account. Blood money, Beth called it. Down payment on the future, I corrected. Slowly, painfully, we rebuilt. Room by room. Day by day. Learning to trust ourselves again. 18 months later, I stood in what used to be Cole's home office and didn't feel anything. Not anger, not sadness, not even the ghost of what we'd been. The room was mine now, my actual office, where I ran the marketing consultancy I'd built from nothing. The walls were painted a soft sage green. My desk faced the window overlooking the garden Beth and I had replanted last spring, filling it with vegetables and herbs instead of the decorative flowers Cole had insisted on. We grew tomatoes now. Basil. Jalapenos that Beth used to make salsa that was way too spicy, but we ate anyway because we'd grown it ourselves. My business had tripled in the past year. Turned out that not spending emotional energy on a lying boyfriend freed up a lot of time for actual work. I had 6 steady clients now, 2 employees working remotely, and a waiting list of companies who wanted my services. The money Cole had repaid, all $12,000, sat in an investment account I'd opened specifically for it. Blood money, Beth called it. I called it a down payment on my future. Beth was thriving too, in that messy, gradual way that real healing happens. She'd stayed living at home, saved enough for a solid emergency fund, and started dating someone she'd met at the coffee shop where she worked part-time while finishing her degree. Asher was 27, taught elementary school, and had zero drama attached to him. The bar was low, but he consistently cleared it. He asked if he could meet you, Beth had told me last week over dinner. Like, formally. He's nervous. Why would he be nervous? Because he knows what happened with Cole. He doesn't want you to think all men are trash. I don't think all men are trash. Just specific men. Asher had come over for dinner, brought flowers for both of us, and asked thoughtful questions about my business instead of dominating the conversation with his own achievements. He'd helped clear dishes without being asked. Had good table manners. Laughed at Beth's jokes even when they weren't funny. You can keep this one, I'd told Beth after he left. The house felt different now. Lighter. We'd painted most of the rooms, replaced furniture that held bad memories, created spaces that were entirely ours. The kitchen where I'd sat in shock that first day was now bright yellow with new cabinet hardware and plants on every surface. Meredith still came over for tea every Thursday. It had become our ritual, processing the week, gossiping about neighborhood drama that didn't involve us, planning the community garden she'd convinced me to help manage. You've changed, she'd said during one of our Thursday sessions. Not just the house. You. How? You take up space now. Before, you were always making yourself smaller. Accommodating. Now you just exist. Loudly. She was right. I'd stopped apologizing for existing. Stopped second-guessing my instincts. Stopped caring what people thought about my decisions. When Margaret had suggested I try dating again, "You're only 38, Sarah, not dead," I'd actually considered it. Downloaded an app, went on a few dates that ranged from boring to bizarre. Realized I didn't actually want a relationship right now. I wanted my own company, my work, my daughter's laughter in the next room. Maybe someday, I'd told Margaret. But not because I'm lonely. Only if I meet someone who adds to my life instead of complicating it. The social fallout had mostly settled. Some people had taken Cole's side, mostly his friends who believed his version where I was the crazy ex who overreacted to a simple mistake. I'd let them believe it. Anyone who thought infidelity and theft was a simple mistake wasn't someone I needed in my life anyway. Elizabeth, Beth's friend who'd initially doubted the story, had apologized 6 months later. She'd apparently dated one of Cole's friends and discovered firsthand how that whole group operated. "You were right about everything," she'd said. "I'm sorry I didn't believe you immediately." I'd accepted the apology but kept my distance. Some bridges, once burned, weren't worth rebuilding. Michaela had moved 3 states away, according to the grapevine. Working as a bartender in Arizona, ironically near where her mother had relocated. Someone had told Beth she'd gotten engaged to a man in his 40s, a divorce lawyer of all things. "Think she'll actually marry him?" Beth had asked. "I think she'll do whatever gets her what she wants in the moment," I'd replied. "And then blame everyone else when it falls apart." We didn't talk about Michaela much anymore. She'd become a cautionary tale, a reminder to trust our instincts, but not someone worth ongoing emotional energy. Cole had tried one last time to contact me, about a year after everything imploded. A letter forwarded through Jennifer's office, since he couldn't reach me directly. She'd called to ask if I wanted to read it. "What's the summary?" I'd asked. "Apology. Self-pity. Hint that he's changed and hopes you can forgive him someday. Suggestion that maybe you could get coffee and talk. Send it back marked return to sender." "You don't want to read it?" "Jennifer, I don't need his apology. I don't care if he's changed. He doesn't get my forgiveness or my time or my coffee. Send it back." She'd laughed. "You know, when you first came to my office, you were so hurt. Devastated. I wasn't sure you'd get to this place." "What place?" "Complete indifference. That's when you know you've really healed, when they stop taking up space in your head." She was right. Cole had become background noise, a character in a story that happened to someone I used to be. The woman who'd walked in on her boyfriend and her daughter's best friend felt like a different person. Someone smaller, more trusting, less aware of her own worth. I'd framed something in my office, not the note from Leo like in the original story, but something Beth had said during one of our late-night conversations a few months after everything fell apart. "Mom, you didn't lose Cole. You lost someone pretending to be worth your time. That's not a loss, that's trash taking itself out." I'd written it down and had it printed in simple black text on white paper. It hung above my desk where I could see it every day. Next to it was a photo from last month, me, Beth, Margaret, and Meredith at the community garden grand opening. For women who'd built something real out of dirt and determination. No men in the photo. No one we needed to perform for or accommodate. Just us, genuinely happy, genuinely free. My phone buzzed with a text from Jennifer, "Settlement check cleared. Cole's officially out of your life financially. How does it feel?" I typed back, like closing a book I should have put down chapters ago. Poetic. "Want to get drinks and celebrate?" "Can't tonight. Family dinner. But rain check." "Absolutely. You're buying though." "With Cole's money." I laughed. Maybe I would buy drinks with Cole's money. Money that was mine anyway, that he'd stolen and been forced to return. Using it felt like the ultimate reclamation, taking what he tried to take from me and turning it into joy instead of pain. Beth knocked on my office door. "Mom, dinner's almost ready. Asher's coming over. That okay?" "Of course. What are we making?" "That lemon chicken thing." I found the recipe card. The same dish I'd been planning to make the day everything fell apart. I hadn't made it since then, couldn't stomach the association. But Beth had pulled it out of the recipe box, decided it was time to take it back. Perfect, I said. I'll be down in 5 minutes. After she left, I looked around my office one more time. My space. My business. My life rebuilt on my own terms. The woman who'd sat on her kitchen floor 18 months ago, shaking and devastated, would be proud of who I'd become. Actually, scratch that. She'd be amazed she had this person inside her all along. Sometimes people ask me if I regret how I handled everything. If I wish I'd been more forgiving, more willing to work things out, more understanding of Cole's mistake. The answer is always no. Here's what I learned from walking in on my boyfriend with a girl I'd practically raised. Betrayal isn't an accident. It's a series of choices made over and over again. Every text message was a choice. Every lie was a choice. Every time they looked me in the eye and pretended everything was fine, choice, choice, choice. And my choice to walk away wasn't cruel. It was self-preservation. People love to romanticize forgiveness like it's the ultimate sign of strength. But you know what's actually strong? Recognizing when someone has shown you exactly who they are and believing them the first time. Not giving them chances to perfect their lies. Not waiting around to see if they'll hurt you again in new creative ways. I spent 4 years with Cole making myself smaller so he could feel bigger. Apologizing for things that weren't my fault. Explaining away red flags because I didn't want to be the suspicious girlfriend. The paranoid one. The one who couldn't just relax and trust. Turns out my paranoia was actually intuition screaming at a volume I'd trained myself not to hear. Beth asked me once if I thought I'd ever trust anyone again. I told her the truth, I never stopped trusting people. I stopped trusting people who gave me reasons not to trust them. There's a difference. Asher earned Beth's trust by being consistent. By showing up when he said he would. By treating her with basic respect and honesty. The bar isn't actually that high, most people just keep tripping over it anyway. The thing about that smile, Michaela's triumphant smile when I walked in, is that it taught me something valuable. Some people view relationships as competitions. They measure their worth by what they can take from others. Win by making someone else lose. I don't want to play that game. Don't need to. My worth isn't determined by whether a man chooses me over someone younger. It's not validated by being picked or preferred or fought over. I'm valuable because I exist. Because I show up for myself and the people I love. Because I build things and create things and refuse to shrink. If I could go back and tell that woman sitting on her kitchen floor something, it would be this: the pain you're feeling right now is real and valid and overwhelming. But it's temporary. What's permanent is the strength you're about to discover you've had all along. You're going to rebuild. Room by room, choice by choice, day by day. You're going to learn that being alone is different from being lonely. That peace is better than passion built on lies. That the right people don't make you question your reality, they confirm it. And that smile that hurts so much? Eventually you'll realize it was a gift. Because it showed you exactly who she was without the mask. No more wondering, no more making excuses, no more benefit of the doubt. Just crystal clear truth. The best revenge isn't posting their secrets or destroying their reputations or making them suffer. It's building a life so full and rich and satisfying that they become irrelevant. Background noise. A story you tell sometimes that doesn't hurt anymore. I walked in on my boyfriend and my daughter's best friend 18 months ago. What hurt most was her smile, that triumphant, cruel smile that said she'd won. But here's the thing about winning: you can't win a game the other person isn't playing. She got Cole. I got myself back. I know who got the better deal. Up next, you've got 2 more standout stories right on your screen. If this one hit the mark, you won't want to pass these up. Just click and check them out. And don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any upload from us.